Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. Today we're checking out there are not 195 countries.
195.
193.
312.
204. How many countries are there?
Oh, that's what we're doing.
Welcome to Map Men.
We're the men.
And here's the map.
Map Men,
Cool.
Map Men, Map Men.
Y'all, obviously this is a Map Men video. It just came out last week. If you've not seen this one already, be sure to go to their page, Jay Foreman's page, and give it a view and a like and subscribe. And then come back here and watch me smear feces all over it. Map Men like to hide a lot of jokes in their videos, and I have to stop it and check it out. Buckle in, buckle up. Let's see what Mark and Jay have done for us this time.
In 3200 BC,
5223 the N.
the best traveled people in the world were the Iranians.
See?
Because
What does that mean? That's a joke. Jay, what does that mean? VN? Hang on.
5223 the N.
The best
That said BN, but I think he said VN. What? Is it VN?
5223 the N.
VN? Y'all, I'm not sure what VN means. I learned that it is the country code for Vietnam, so that's something.
5223 the N.
the best traveled people in the world were the Iranians.
Because every Iranian had visited every country in the world. Iran.
It was the first place to form a sort of government over a sort of territory, making it a sort of
You're
country.
right.
But then, visiting every country became doubly difficult when Egypt assembled itself into a state of its own.
And things only got more complicated from there.
Alright.
Countries started popping up everywhere, including early versions of China, Vietnam, India, Armenia,
Whoa.
North Korea, and finally every other country.
Look how small China was back then, y'all. What the hell? I wish it stayed that way. Just kidding. Look how small India is. And Armenia. Armenia is actually about the same size. North Korea?
North Korea, and finally every other country.
So, what exactly is the grand total now at 5 p.m. in 2024? Because if you're cramming for a pub quiz, or planning an Olympic opening ceremony, or making a website drop-down menu for select your country, or making an episode of Map Men about exactly how many countries there are, exactly how many countries there are matters.
Hang on. I'm sure, it feels like there's a joke in there somewhere. So let me just tiptoe through it. Quiz Team A, Aguilera. Oh, these are answers. Scotland, Ottawa, the Danube, 67 million. False. Whales exist. The Panama Canal, 50. Animal from the Muppets. My favorite Muppet. Libya, it's entirely green. River in Oxford, Norway, and Annie Frid. South Sudan and Denmark. They're all rivers. Liverpool, Thursday, Lake Victoria, 193, 195, 208, 188, 200-ish? What could those questions possibly have been?
Pub quiz, or planning an Olympic opening ceremony, or making a website drop-down menu for select your country,
Right.
or making an episode of Map Men about exactly how many countries there are, exactly how many countries there are matters.
The most commonly used answer comes from this important building on the green screen behind me, the United Nations, where the world's nations gather to discuss problems and find solutions. If you're a member of it, you're a country, and the number of members is... It's a UN Decree 193.
Here they are. Oh, and
Okay.
there's also 2 observer states, who get to speak at meetings but not vote. Long story.
The UN has revised to 195.
The
Okay.
perceived officialness of this number creates an opportunity for record collectors with too much time on their hands.
Okay, so that's how many countries belong to the United Nations, is what they're saying, right? But aren't there some countries that don't belong to the United Nations? This is saying 193. I trust Mapmen over, what is that? Ask Dag. Countries don't belong to the Kosovo, the Vatican, Cook Islands, Taiwan, Western Sahara, Northern Cyprus, Palestine, Abkhazia, Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. So there's really 204? But is Taiwan? Oh, see, this is tricky. Is the Vatican a country? It is, isn't it? Cook Islands? Yeah, definition is muddled. Please, Jay, tell me more.
The perceived officialness of this number creates an opportunity for record collectors with too much time on their hands, such as Graham Hughes, who in 2012 became the first person to visit every single one.
And he did it without taking a single flight.
Bye, Mum.
Wow.
I'll see you in just over 4 years.
Did Graham really?
I love that's so. Man, y'all. Hang on, back up. What's this guy's name? Graham Hughes. He did it in 2012. That was 12 years ago, y'all. As of now, Graham Hughes, the first person, according to Guinness, to visit all 193 United Nations member states without flying. I guess he took a boat, or he swam, or walked, or took a car, or truck, or bus, or train. Oh, he also visited some non-member states like the Vatican, Palestine, Western Sahara, Kosovo, Taiwan, North Korea, and he noted people wonder how he got to countries like North Korea, Iraq, and Afghanistan, but claims that they were the easy ones. Before embarking on the journey, Hughes contacted Guinness to agree to the rules of his journey. The rules were no flying, no private taxis, no hitchhiking. He could not drive a vehicle or ride a motorbike as part of the journey. Why, Mom? What? Why? He must set foot on dry land and no traveling to far-flung territories and counting them as a visit to the motherland. Okay, like some island that they just have colonized. That doesn't count. These are some strict criteria. While on the expedition, he raised funds and awareness for the charity Water Aid. Wow. Let's, I don't want to read ahead of the video. Tell me more, Jay.
I see you in just over 4 years.
But did Graham really finish the job? Can you definitely say he visited every country in the world just because he followed the UN's list?
Not necessarily. Take Taiwan.
Something China wants to do.
Taiwan,
Oh,
which behaves exactly
burn.
like a country with its own government, flag, military, currency, capital city, and national anthem, is not considered a country by the UN because Taiwan claims that it's actually China.
What?
What?
In 1927, a civil war broke out between the ruling Republic of China and the Chinese Communist Party. The Communists won, and the old government fled to Taiwan, where they've been holed up ever since, resulting
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. No wonder China wants it back. They want to wipe them out totally. Wow. I have to watch that bit again. I didn't know that.
In 1927, a civil war broke out between the ruling Republic of China and the Chinese Communist Party. The Communists won, and the old government fled to Taiwan, where they've been holed up ever since, resulting in these two countries both claiming to be the real China.
For a long time, most of the world continued to recognise only the exiled government, but the passage of time
And the passage of economic superpower
saw Communist
Right.
China fully accepted by the UN in 1971.
Whoa, that's recent. I didn't know it was that recent, y'all. So up until then, the communist Chinese government was not recognized. Phew. It's so recent that it makes it feel more unstable and volatile, doesn't it? That's kind of scary.
passage of economic
Everything is
superpower
made
Saw
in China.
Communist China fully accepted.
I didn't notice that when it came up. Everything is made in China. I mean, yeah.
Taiwan is, of course, just one of many examples of de facto countries who lack UN recognition for similar reasons. Others are Kosovo, Somaliland, Western Sahara, Northern Cyprus, South Ossetia, Transnistria, Abkhazia, Niue, Cook Islands, and SMOM, who aren't members but all have at least one member friend.
Name those countries again.
Others are Kosovo, Somaliland, Western Sahara, Northern Cyprus, South Ossetia, Transnistria, Abkhazia, Niue, Cook Islands, and SMOM, who aren't members but all have at least one member friend.
Okay.
So, if we add these countries in practice countries to our list of unrecognised countries, UN recognised countries, we get a grand total of...
Some more for the slate, 208.
But that number's super contentious. At least the UN's 195 countries are countries everyone agrees are real countries, aren't they, Mark?
No, they're not, Mark.
Oh.
The UN members list confusingly includes lots of countries whose countryness is not recognised by some of their fellow members. These include Cyprus,
Not recognised by Turkey,
Armenia,
not recognised by Pakistan,
South Korea,
not recognised by North Korea,
North Korea,
not recognised by South Korea or Japan,
Israel,
not recognised by 28 UN countries,
and China.
not recognised to this day by 12 UN countries,
Wow.
including Bhutan, who uniquely doesn't believe in Taiwan either.
Okay. Wow. Is this why some countries' representatives get up and leave whenever other countries speak at the UN? What a mess to manage. What a bundle of tangled wires. All these people hating each other. I just need to watch that again. Wow, all of these countries don't even recognize China.
These include Cyprus,
Not recognised by Turkey,
Armenia,
not recognised by Pakistan,
Cyprus isn't recognized by Turkey. They're right next to each other, right? Did Cyprus used to be part of Turkey? Oh, Turkey invaded Cyprus in 1974. That wasn't that long ago. Phew. Okay. This world is more broken up than I thought. It's kind of scary, y'all. This is scaring me. I thought it would be funny. Mark and Jay, you're scaring me.
Korea,
not recognised by North Korea,
North Korea,
not recognised by South Korea or Japan,
Israel,
not recognised by 28 UN countries,
Oh, right. Wow. Not recognized by 28 UN countries. Don't ask. Wow.
and China.
not recognised to this day by 12 UN countries, including Bhutan, who uniquely doesn't believe in Taiwan either.
So if we only counted countries on the UN members list who aren't disputed by anybody, our total number of countries would stand at, lose the suspect states, 188.
Oh.
Problem free.
Not problem-free. This number has the extremely unsatisfying effect of leaving big empty gaps on the world map that apparently belong to no country at all. So, because we're big fans of colouring in,
Shading. The UN knows best. Bring back the rest. So that's the answer. Thanks for watching. The end. Goodbye.
No.
Hang on, I've just realised we can't use the UN's list.
Why is that?
Because a country that indisputably exists and is very important to me is missing.
Hang on. Yo, I think they're gonna play an ad, and their ads are good. They don't just read an ad, they make a whole sketch out of it. So we're gonna enjoy this ad.
Hello?
Minister, where are you? Big speech is in 5 minutes.
Bad news. We've got to postpone. Today is the end of the world. Get to a bunker.
What?
No time to explain. The apocalypse is now. Or nigh. Whatever. Hurry.
Sir, I know announcing the new brick tax might make the press a bit hostile, but it's not the end of the world.
But the world is ending in 90 seconds' time. Thankfully, I've got over 900 peaches.
Peaches?
Yes, tons of peaches. That's what they always say.
It's tins of peaches, sir. And I think you're just finding an excuse to avoid doing the speech.
What is tins of peaches? I've never heard that expression. Tins of peaches. And I don't see anything about it.
Excuse? Timothy, I read this at www.bongbong.definitelyrealnews.omg. You must click this now.com. It's a news site. They don't lie.
Oh, Minister, are you saying you still don't use Ground News?
Ground news?
Ground News is an app and website that lets you compare related news from across the world. With so many clickbaity websites posing as factually objective news outlets, Ground News helps you understand what's really going on.
Like the end of the world in 30 seconds' time.
No, like the fact that there are different viewpoints on different stories, some more trustworthy than others. Ground News helps you
True.
understand the source of your news, with information on their reliability, political leaning, and ownership, all backed by ratings from 3 independent news monitoring organizations.
That's a good
For
thing,
example,
right?
when your American friend tells you 13 counties in Oregon have voted to secede and join Idaho, you can look it up on Ground News. You can see that most of the sources
I wouldn't
covering
be
the story are
surprised.
right-leaning with low and mixed reliability.
that's cool.
And if you dig deeper and start to compare the articles on the topic, you'll see that to actually secede, they would have to get approval from legislators in both states and Congress. If you go to ground.news/mapmen or click this QR code, you can sign up to Ground News through their link and get 40% off unlimited access and potentially find out that the
Does that work? Let me see. Let's just see if the resolution of YouTube can transmit a QR code. It's working. It worked. Ground News. Surprised.
can sign up to Ground News through their link and get 40% off unlimited access and potentially find out that the world is not going to end today and do your big important speech.
So you're saying all I have to do is get Ground News and I'll be so clued in I'll become Prime Minister?
Yes, you'll become Prime Minister.
Just downloading Ground News.
Congratulations, future Prime Minister.
I'll be unimpeachable.
Ground News accepts no responsibility for customers who download the app expecting to become Prime Minister and do not become Prime Minister.
See? Great ad. Just to add my turd in the punch bowl, I think the world will be a better place if we all had Ground News.
A country that indisputably exists and is very important to me is missing. England.
Oh dear. Countries in the UN have to be not only autonomous, but sovereign. And those two words don't mean the same thing.
Autonomous means you come up with all your own laws and taxes and so on. But sovereign means you have the last word on these laws and taxes, and there is no one higher up who can interfere.
No scarecrows, 20% tax on beards, free cinema tickets for dogs, police wear spotty uniforms, official language Tokipona. What's Tokipona? Tokipona is a philosophical, artistic constructed language known for its small vocabulary, simplicity, and ease of acquisition. Oh, no scarecrows. Oh, so they want scarecrows. They've changed it with red ink. 30% tax on beards. Free cinema tickets for small dogs. That's a good change. Police wear stripy uniforms. Official language binary. Nice.
Many autonomous regions around the world can't become sovereign until they're let go by their host countries, such as Catalonia,
Who need permission from Spain,
Chechnya,
who need permission from Russia,
and Scotland.
who need permission from Rishi Sunak.
So that's why the UK is a member of the UN, but the four countries that make it up, England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland, are not.
My belief is that the Scottish people would like their governments, both the Scottish government and the UK government, to focus on the issues that are most pressing at the moment, given the scale of the challenges that we face. That's such a political answer. Whenever a politician encounters a question or a comment that they don't like or they're not prepared to answer, they always deflect and say, I think we need to focus on the issues that are important to the people. Bullshit. Oh, look at the bottom. 98.5% chance this goes out of date by next week. Oh, it's been over a week since they made this.
I know that, but the only available word for what England is country. If our list is going to include every country in the world, it simply has to be included.
There's also a Map Men video. I think it's called What Makes a Country. Be sure to check that one out.
If our list is going to include every country in the world, it simply has to be included.
It's not sovereign.
It's got an emoji flag.
Yeah, fair enough. UK countries uncombined, 199. But now we've opened a massive can of worms. If we decide to count country-like places that don't have their own sovereignty, we have to include crown dependencies.
Hang on. Those worms looked real. Heinz worms. Oh, wow. Okay. I can see a little bit of shadowing here, so maybe they're not real.
To count country-like places that don't have their own sovereignty, we have
Okay, and I see some
to
movement.
include crown dependency.
Okay, wow. Very There's one on his eyebrow. Very convincing special effects, I have to say. Oh, there's some over here on the table. Gross.
Countries uncombined, 199. But now we've opened a massive can of worms. If we decide to count country-like places that don't have their own sovereignty, we have to include crown dependencies, overseas territories, constituent countries, autonomous regions,
Wait.
specialist municipalities, and free associations join the crew. 282.
What's with all the alcohol on the table? I just noticed that. Wait, has there been alcohol on the table this whole time and I didn't notice it? Oh, here he has a pint. There's no alcohol there. Oh, there's a glass of wine in that one. Oh, and a bottle of Jaeger and a Red Bull. Okay. Now he has 3 empty bottles of wine. Oh, and now, okay, yeah. Mark, Jaeger and Red Bull? What else is down there? Oh, he's mixing it, looks like. Y'all, I want to party with Mark Cooper Jones. I don't know where this is leading, but I like it.
Can of worms. If we decide to count country-like places that don't have their own sovereignty, we have to include crown dependencies, overseas territories, constituent countries, autonomous regions, specialist municipalities, and free associations join the crew. 282.
That's a big difference.
This is getting really hard to count.
Perhaps the best
Nice.
way to settle this and come up with a true
Oh,
number
there's
is
worms
to
on
find
the
a definition of the word
desk.
country we can all agree on.
Such as the one they agreed on at the 1933 Montevideo Convention.
So what was that?
I need to hear that again. I was looking at the worms on the desk.
This is getting really hard to count.
Perhaps the best way to settle this and come up with a true number is to find a definition of the word country we can all agree on.
Such as the one they agreed on at the 1933 Montevideo Convention.
So what was that?
90 years ago, 20 Pan-American countries flew to the capital of the country with the most U's in it to have a meeting to agree what was and wasn't a state.
I'm sorry, what does the sign say?
Capital of the country with the most U's in it to have a meeting
International Conference, bring your own flag. They're at a Hilton.
to agree what was and wasn't a state.
Many of them had recently become independent, and they were very keen to enshrine the right to self-governance on an important piece of paper.
The 4 simple criteria for statehood they came up with were
Okay, well, we have to read that. Definition of a state. A 50th of the USA. Skate spelled wrong. A frame of mind. Oh, that's true. Solid, liquid, gas. My marriage. Long car. Long car? Long car. A limousine? I don't get that one. My marriage is in a state. Permanent population, defined territory, government capacity to... Okay.
Piece of paper.
the 4 simple criteria for statehood they came up with were
A permanent population, a defined territory, a government, and capacity to enter into relations with
Very
other
realistic
states.
mustache.
On the 26th of December, they realised they'd all missed Christmas and quickly signed a landmark agreement before flying home with duty-free gifts.
What does this say? Is this for real? Convention of Rights and Duties of States. Montevideo Holiday Inn, 13 Montevideo Square, Montevideo MV11AA, Uruguay, December 26,
December,
1933. We, the following countries, do officially sign this document, and in so agreeing that things that make countries are the following things: a permanent population, a defined territory, a government, and capacity to enter into relations with other states. Specifically, those countries in no particular order, so as not to hurt any country's feelings: the United States, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, El Salvador, Guatemala, Haiti, Honduras, Mexico, Nicaragua, Panama, Paraguay, and Venezuela. This document is also available in Spanish.
Realised they'd all missed Christmas and quickly signed a landmark agreement before flying home with duty-free gifts to their families. Merry Christmas, darling. Sorry, here's a massive Toblerone.
And so,
Wait, what?
Home with duty-free gifts to their families. Merry Christmas, darling.
Merry Christmas, darling. Sorry, here's a massive Toblerone.
All missed Christmas and quickly signed a landmark agreement before flying home with duty-free gifts to their families. Merry Christmas, darling. Sorry, here's a massive Toblerone.
And so, since 1933, we've had an official definition of what a country is.
Hang on. What's all this other stuff? Y'all, This is a treasure trove. We're going to stop and read all of this. After I use the bathroom. Look at all this. Con Air. Film about a boy who Film about a boy who befriends a whale who does a massive jump over a wall at the end, and the boy shouts, "Go Willie." That's not correct. Concave, opposite of convex. That's true, I think. Conception. I'll tell you when you're older. Conkers. School playground game where you tie a bit of string round a horse chestnut tree seed and smash each other over the head with it. The winner is the last one to say ow. Banned since 2004. Continent. We covered this in episode 20. Maybe that's the video I was thinking of. Convex, opposite of concave. Well done. Copper, slang for policemen that absolutely nobody uses anymore. Oh, copper, right. Metal that starts reddish brown and then goes bluish green when it's had enough. Count, guy from Sesame Street who goes to say the numbers in order until you have the right number of things. To matter or be included. Example, whales doesn't count. Oh, damn. Burn. Country. Thing with a permanent population, a defined territory, that's what we've been talking about. Country, we covered this in episode 22. Yeah, okay, so that was one. Okay. Covent Garden. Don't bother using this station. There's no escalator and it's full of tourists. It's literally always quicker to get off at Leicester Square and walk the extra 3 minutes. Jay Foreman has great knowledge of all the tube stations in London, so I would take his advice on that. Coventry. Famous for 3 things. Lady Godiva, didn't happen. Coventry Cathedral, bad thing. And being a metaphorical place you get sent to if people aren't talking to you anymore, worst thing. Crabtree. Looks like a normal tree from far away, but up close it's full of crabs instead of leaves. And makes an absolutely terrifying jackety clack, clack, clack noise. Oh, clackety, clack, clack, clack. That would be terrifying. Gonna have nightmares about. Crater. Big hole on the moon. Crayon. Stubby pointed stick of wax that can eventually make a whole piece of paper a different color. Do not eat. Cricket. Insect that follows you around giving unsolicited advice. Sport that involves a lot of standing and waiting around and goes on for days. Popular everywhere that Britain used to own, except the USA, who play more exciting games like baseball and ultimate frisbee. Crime. Thing you're not allowed to do without going to prison. Examples include stealing a handbag, downloading movies from the internet, fishing without a license, and about 15 others. Crocodile. Enormous lizard with an unnecessarily long mouth. That's true. Can disguise itself as a coconut tree, seesaw, fairground ride, picnic basket? Is that what it says? Damn. Fairground ride or picnic bench. Croquet monsieur. Literally a ham and cheese toasty. Oh, that would be so good right now. Cross? To go to the other side of. Angry. Opposite of tick. Or sometimes same as tick. 2 perpendicular things meet in the middle. Crunchy. Chocolate bar with a honeycomb center. The holes get bigger towards the middle for reasons to do with VAT. Taxes? Crunchy. Adjective named after the sound your mouth makes when you eat a crunchy bar. Cuckoo clock. Wooden clock with a real bird inside that comes out and laughs at you every hour. Cuddle. Boxers do to each other in the ring towards the end of the fight when they're getting tired. Cumbernauld. The most beautiful town in all of Scotland. Cumbernauld? Cumbernauld. Oh. This looks like it might be the most popular building in Cumbernauld. It's real. Cupboard. Box with a door that goes on the wall. A storage solution for things you want to be able to access easily but don't want on display. Apparently the word used to mean table, which explains the spelling. Cupboard. Oh, yeah, that would make sense. In America, we call them cabinets. Cushion. Soft square that you have to move off the sofa before you can sit down. Custard. Band whose lead singer is the voice of the dad from Bluey, which is really distracting. Cut. Verb. To snip, get rid of, or stop filming. Oh, noun version. Example. In the director's cut of Con Air, there's a scene where Willie does a really long monologue about how boring it is being a whale. Those were great.
we've had an official definition of what a country is.
All right.
That should make counting straightforward, but the Montevideo definition has a couple of major flaws.
First of all, under the Montevideo Convention, the European Union counts as a country. It has a territory, a population, international relations, and full
like a
control
whole
of its
single
member
country.
states.
No, it doesn't.
It feels like it does.
And the second problem is,
Under the Monte Convention, this tree, a clearly defined territory in which I am both population and government and have capacity to enter into relations with other governments,
I'm listening.
is a country. I vow to tree my country. My country is a tree.
This may sound silly,
It is, isn't it?
but across the world there are countless areas that claim to be countries under this exact same criteria, with zero recognition from any other state.
And they're known as micronations. Our favourite.
There are 86 micronations noteworthy enough to get a Wikipedia article, bringing our total to...
Micronations we collate, 368. That's rather a lot. Do
Wait.
micronations...
What's going on the table? Where'd the alcohol go? What is that? What's he drinking now? What is that? I can't tell what that is. Looks like a British brand of milk. Is it like Pedialyte? Like a hangover cure?
Collate, 368. That's rather a lot. Do micronations really need to be included on our very serious list?
Let's look at loads of examples.
You can have Uno.
Just off the coast of Suffolk is this tiny disused naval fort, which is technically an independent country.
When it was abandoned after World War II, it was in international waters, which meant it was technically up for grabs.
United Kingdom, whatevs. J.
In 1967, fisherman Roy Bates turned up, intending to start a pirate radio station.
You're listening to CFM, playing...
What is this photo? It says Big Mouth Billy Bass.
In 1967, fisherman Roy Bates turned up, intending to start a pirate radio station.
You're listening to CFM, playing you the very best in pop, rock, and country.
But quickly decided instead to declare the fort an independent country that he was prince of,
There's a thought.
and named it Sealand.
Sealand still declares itself an independent country today, under
Wow.
Prince Michael Bates, who keeps his dad's dream afloat by selling titles and passports to documentary presenter after documentary presenter after documentary presenter. There are similarly silly stories for the small so-called states of Redonda, Seborga, West Arctica,
Hang on.
Ladonia, Utopia,
Hang on. Whoa. Sealand? And he sells passports? That sounds like a tourist trap in Florida. Welcome to Sealand, the world's smallest country. Our story. 7 miles off the eastern shore of Britain, being battered by the North Sea, a World War II fort stood in international waters. Ruff's Tower. It was to become the birthplace of a nation. Well, Roy Bates. He was a major in the British Army. The theory behind this location was an attempt to bypass the draconian broadcasting restrictions of the time, which permitted little more than formal broadcasting by the BBC. So it was a pirate radio station, and the British people loved it. It supplied everything that the BBC did not at the time, pop music and amusing presenters. Wow. Okay. Amazing. Sealand. Who knew? Wait. There's a dude hanging. How do you get up from there? Or is that how you get down onto a boat? I guess that's how you go up and down off the platform. That's nuts. Oh, he has his own flag. Yeah.
under Prince Michael Bates, who keeps his dad's dream afloat by selling titles and passports to documentary presenter after documentary presenter after documentary presenter. There are similarly silly
Hang on.
stories for the small so-called states of Redonda, Seborga,
Redonda, a small, uninhabitable island southwest of Antigua, claimed by a surprisingly large number of people, was first choice designation for a fire festival until the organizer decided it probably offered too much by way of facility. If you don't know, the Fire Festival was a music festival that was advertised as this huge thing. It was on an island, I think. When people actually went, they had to sleep in like tents. There were no facilities. The food was horrible. So that's the joke. Okay, Redonda.
Seborga,
Seborga. Seborga's claim to independence is based on medieval documents suggesting it was a sovereign state in 954 AD. A resident decided it might take a bit of tourism dollar from some of the other lovely local Italian towns, and it worked. Not only that, but 20 other countries now recognize Seborga, all of the micronations. In a happy difference from most, they do willingly accept Italian jurisdiction, so for now, civil war is a way off. That's good. West Arctica. Founded by Travis McHenry, West Arctica claims most of Marie Byrd land, which is this bit. Interesting fact, 2 other micronations claim ownership of the same area, meaning 3 people think they own something they neither do nor can. Matt Man also did a video about who owns Antarctica. It's very interesting. Check it out if you haven't already. Ladonia. Royal Republic of... Oh, like that flag. The flag looks unfinished. Swedish artist Lars Vilks created 2 sculptures in a nature reserve without anyone noticing until they noticed. When they noticed, the local council ruled that it should be removed. Lars disagreed and entered into a legal battle which he lost. And in true King Charles I form, he decided the best argument from here would be to say the courts had no legitimacy and declared an area around his sculptures independent. Maybe next time, just host an exhibition. Huh. Yeah, I don't think you can... That seems illegitimate. Newtopia. John and Yoko took a photo on their trip to West Antarctica and made it their flag. What? Founded by John Lennon and Yoko Ono, this conceptual country was supposed to be a satirical response to the United States government's attempt to deport Lennon. Sing. Imagine there's my country. He was thinking outside the box, y'all. And Yoko was too, oh my gosh. Sweet lady. Zakistan. Cool name. Founded by, you guessed it, Zach. Zakistan is in the Utah desert and has no buildings except for its wee border control station. Oddly, Zach pays the state of Utah a yearly fee in return for favorable foreign relations. Victory Arch is described as a monument to an unspecified victory. Micronations are fun, aren't they? Yes, they are. There's a robot statue, too. Zakistan. Way to go, Zach. Wagamamona. Not the home of reasonably priced Asian fusion food. It does look like that. This small New Zealand township just off the Forgotten World Highway, one for the bucket list, declared independence in 1989, holding a presidential election. It celebrates Republic Day every other year when its population of 126 swells to thousands, hundreds of whom are not sheep. Huh. So, do those thousands of people go there to celebrate Republic Day or for some other reason? Asgardia, Space Kingdom of. Our key scientific goal is facilitating the first human childbirth in space, a crucial step on our path to immortality as a species. Whoa. Interesting from the Asgardia website, is giving birth in space really the first step? Surely it's figuring out how to survive there, then giving birth. Anyway, Asgardia is one of those that takes itself seriously, so is fun in a very different way. It's basically a bunch of people who launched a satellite and who claim to have a population of over 1 million people. They're plotting a settlement on the moon by 2043. Always good to have a goal. But while some of it seems silly, there's an important point to be made about how sovereignty is legitimized if and when we do start colonizing the final frontier. After all, why should it be Earth-based territorial boundaries that have any say? That brings up a great question. For now, the Outer Space Treaty dictates that nobody can claim territory in space, as Asgardia hasn't signed up. Oh, it's like Brooklyn, but on the moon. I want to go there. No, I don't. I'm staying on Earth. Morok Songradi Meads, Republic of. As if the Spratly Islands weren't already claimed by enough sovereign UN-recognized countries, this ludicrously named micronation, one of few in the world to feel it needs to write it out in full on its flag, has elbowed in as well. Though to be fair, their claim is based on an ancestral discovery of the islands in 1877. It's slowly amassing a diplomatic and military power to rival China's in the hope of forcing real change on this glorified coral reef. Snake Hill, Principality of, another Aussie fiscal special, this time in the form of family in New South Wales who were unable to afford their taxes and decided to abandon Australia altogether. Claims to have hundreds of citizens and represent an area the size of Monaco. Needless to say, the heads of state have featured in plenty of court appearances. Uzubio? One of those artistry enclave micronation as conceptual art rebellion type ones. Uzupis is a neighborhood of Vilnius, capital of Lithuania, and looks rather pretty. Constitution states everyone has the right to doubt, but it is not an obligation. I'm not sure where that's not the case, but it's nice that someone decided to write it down. Yeah, everyone has the right to doubt, but it's not an obligation. Yeah, sure. Their flag is a hand with a circle on it. Wow. Conch Republic. Of course there's a micronation in Florida. And of course it's in the Keys. The brainchild of Dennis Wardlow, it was born out of a bizarre moment in 1982 when the U.S. set up a checkpoint into the Keys as they searched for narcotics, a checkpoint that damaged tourism. Dennis decided, as they were essentially doing border checks, might as well make it a proper border. Mayor Wardlow was proclaimed Prime Minister of the Republic, which immediately declared war against the United States, symbolically breaking a loaf of stale Cuban bread over the head of a man dressed in a naval uniform, quickly surrendered after 1 minute to the man in the uniform, and applied for $1 billion in foreign aid, which it didn't get. Wow. I mean, that's kind of brilliant. They're just trying to play the system, show how ridiculous all the rules are. There's more. Australasia, Empire of. Australasia, with its stickman flag, purports to be a successor to the Roman Empire, and as the saying goes, all roads lead to Sutton, UK, which is where it was founded, in someone's house. Reports that the gas man needs to bring a passport with at least 6 months validity to read the meter, and entirely made up by me just now. Oh, way to cap off a string of micronations. Make one yourself. Nice. Way to go, Jay. Smart.
So on and so on and so on.
Oh, there's more. Avram, Grand Duchy of. They don't have a flag. Design your own and send to them. mapmenmail@gmail.com. Probably the reason it doesn't have a flag is that Avram does not claim any territory. Instead, it is a bank based in Australia. The Australian government brought several lawsuits against Avram's founder, John Charlton Rudge. These finally resulted in a ruling that Rudge had committed no crimes, and his banking activities subsequently were allowed to resume. That seems like a really blatant money laundering thing, you know? Can you do that? Brilliant if you can do that. Jay's Tree, a vertical micronation with a height 8 times greater than its widest width. Led by Comrade Foreman, a broadly sympathetic is slightly odd leader who every few seconds has to consciously remind his eyelids to blink. Really? This is because, as he himself explains, my brain just won't do that bit on its own, but it doesn't stop me from delivering on the policies that matter to the millions of wood lice across this great nation. Borderline uninhabitable to any normal blinking humans, partly due to 50% lighting electrocution hazard over a human lifetime. Rock bottom quality of life, but scores highly on 5G reception. Oh, well, there's a perk. Can't say that about the U.S. Hey, Abor Marcy, a non-benevolent autocracy, lying some 54 meters from arch-rival Jay's Tree, a nation commander Marcus refuses to recognize. The National League is classical Latin, medieval Neo-Latin being strictly prohibited. What? The national language? Oh, you have to speak Latin. Okay. No. Transubstantiado is not a word. Thank you. The linguistically as well as morally corrupting clergy. Arbor Marcy markets itself as an international tax haven and looks forward to delivering on its Vision 2030. Promised to design a world-leading super yacht harbor and host a Grand Prix the following year. That's an ambitious goal. I mean, I'd have to say Arbor Marcy has a more forward-thinking policy than Jay's Tree, I'm sorry to say. Although I feel like only speaking classical Latin could hold it back, though. Oh, that's all of them. Wow, yo, we made it. Okay.
Wagamamona, Space Kingdom of Asgardia, and so on 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 and so on.
For our sensible list of countries to have any meaning, we have to exclude countries that are too small and improbable on the grounds of silliness.
So San Marino and Vatican City are definitely out.
No.
The real reason that micronations can't be considered on our list is because they all lack the most important thing of all when it comes to whether or not you're really a country.
Recognition from other
Hang
countries
on.
is...
What happened there? Who was
The
that?
real reason that micronations can't be considered on our list is because they all lack the most important thing of all when it comes to whether or not you're really a country.
What?
They all lack the most important thing of all when it comes to whether or not you're really a country.
I don't know what that was, but I appreciate it. Pretty weird.
Recognition from other countries is, at the end of the day, really the only thing that makes a country a country.
I'm a country. Yep, sounds about right. Fine by me. I agree. Yes, you are. Hello, country. And I'm Belgium.
If your countryness is recognised only by yourself, as much as we love learning about you, we can't put you on our list. Sorry.
And so, the time has now come for the big reveal. Based on all the evidence, the official answer to how many countries are there is 200-ish?
Yeah, high 100s, low 200s.
This was an answer on the
About
trivia
200.
thing. About
Ultimately,
200.
because different countries recognise different
I'm
countries as
sorry.
countries.
I was talking in the middle of that. I have to watch their performance.
Yeah, high 100s, low 200s.
About 200.
Ultimately, because different countries recognise different countries as countries, the only possible answer to the question, how many countries are there, is It depends who you ask. Counting's a pointless task. It depends who you ask.
His alcohol's gone.
Perhaps it's more important to ask why it matters. Counting countries seems like a very 20th century pastime on an increasingly interconnected planet. The more the world's nations work together, the more we harmonise our trade and laws, and the more we interact on a daily basis with people from all over the world, the more we celebrate diversity within countries, the more the lines between nations and regions get beautifully blurred. Your nation state is just one of many different entities you can claim allegiance to, from your city, to your region, to your continent or your hemisphere. In time, the question of how many countries there are will only become more and more complicated and become less and less relevant.
Can I still wave my flag?
You can do what you want.
Hooray!
Oh, y'all, there it is. Another great Matt Min video. So many jokes. Interesting, funny. Mark and Jay, great work. Be sure to go to their channel and give them some likes and some views and subscribe. It's worth it. Well, thank y'all for watching this with me, and I'll see you next time. Later.